sa loob ng bayan natin. Kapag nakita niyo ako niya, mabuti nga kayo. Hindi ka maalis ang bahay. Oh, kaya lang siya. Nabi sa pinakabahan sa'yo eh. Ika lang tayo. Sa namin siya dalawa. Tara. Salamat. Tingnan bukas.
Malamang nagkahiwalay ng mahigit 2 dekada. Aksidente na nito sa landas sa isang pampublikong bus. Sa Mindoro, may namukay na diumano ang ikong globo na mula pa raw sa 17th century. Kapag inula ang bayan,
Sana ipagdasal mo siya kay San Antonio de Padua para makauwi siya ng ligtas sa atin.
ang pamilya mapuprotektahan.
Audrey, we have been compromised. Sinigod kayo ang tumawag ka sa tatay mo.
Ang galit, hindi mapipigil.
Ano tatay ko?
Next recover sa apat na channel.
Kailangan natin malumas na dito. Kailangan natin bantayan ang isa't isa.
Delikado ang posisyon ng team.
Ang transfer, ito yung pinakadelikado sa pagiging preso.
To avoid your kids' transport. Let's go with it.
Task Force Firewall. May kilala ba kayong ganito?
Dito kita. Yan, yun. Sandali na. Asa.
Kasama ng dancer.
Sunday, 6:15 p.m.
Hindi naman malaki yung panglabas naman.
Ano talaga ng gano'n, Benny?
Sabay-sabay tayo kinikilig at this rating season. Sunday, FBS sa GMA.
Gusto yung mahalaga na insurgents.
First night. Sama-sama natin ipagdiwang ang wikang sumasalamin sa ating pinagmulan, kultura, higit sa lahat kakaisa. Patuloy natin gamitin at ipagmalaki ang wikang Filipino, maligayang wanang wika.
See the wave, take a spot, it's got this over. Feel the wave, gotta flow it, feel the difference, taste like yogurt.
Bagong shirt from Bloom. Buti pa mo. Rinta. Kaya todo tipid. Todo na to. Yung shirt from Bloom. Kaya pa. Yes!
At first I was afraid na walang lasa. Mabilis lutuin pero may kulang pa. Tinanong mo my heart cute. Sa takuan, hindi sarap na. Ang new and approved Coffee Co Blanca with New Zealand milk and premium coffee beans. Creamy at sarap na. Ready for the day. Creamy at sarap. Filipino ang lutay sa creamy at sarap ng lutay siya na ready for the day sa Coffee Co Blanca. New sunset.
You're so complex. That kind of drinks each shot for up to 200% smoother hair. That's the way it's like silk. Sway it with sun soap.
At age 50 pataas, posible ang good quality of life kapag may tamang level ng nutrients sa katawan. Choose doctor-prescribed Centrum Silver Advance. Ang complete formula nito ay may 25 plus nutrients na in-adjust ang level para sa edad 50 pataas. May antioxidants, tulong para sa immunity, vitamins, support healthy heart, at magnesium at B vitamins, tulong for sharp memory. Para sa good quality of life, pag edad 50 pataas, piliin ang Centrum Silver Advance. Ito ang many fats for Centrum.
Yes, everything. Gawa ng kama. Hindi ko rin. Ito po niya. Kaya ang siya matulog. Oo, di ba yung nakilaki siya rin? Tara. Everything. Everything. Oh. Kiss mo na. Kiss mo na.
Totoo ka pala sinabi niyo. Alam mo, kahawig din siya ng lolo niya. Saan naman lang? Makatulog ka na. At saka bukas, magpupwentuhan tayo.
Vamos. Tatlong taong ang Diyos. Gawin ko lang ang matutulutan ng Alias. Ay, tinapos mo itibas sa sakit lang. Sinusitan ba kasi nakaligtas? Kaya lang, sabihin may tama. Masasakyan na puro hindi mahina. Sasabihin namin, sabi ni Porto, sabi mo muna daw eh. Pero tao, pero wala naman doon. Patulong sa picture. Ano yung grupo ni Tenteng? Kunin mo na, bro. Better than me. Berting, ikaw lang bahala sa kanya. Mabait siya. Ay, ayun. Pwede mo kayo siya. Katulad ko. Nakita. Nakita. Pagod ako. Pagod na ako. Pagod siya.
Tulad ng pagmamahal ng inang tundo, ipinakilala ng kanyang mga anak na ang kanilang pagkakaibigan ay matatag at matibay. Sapagkat taglay nito ang tatak ng tundo.
Top 7 foods to burn fat, glycogen. Mas makakamura ka. Dito less than 5,000. Or 40. Oh, di mas mura talaga.
Matcha is taking the world by storm. And while this vibrant green tea has become a global sensation, many are still unaware of the remarkable health benefits hidden in each cup.
The history of matcha in Japan goes back to the early 12th century. Zen priest Eisai is said to have started the custom of drinking powdered tea leaves dissolved in hot water. In his writings, he described tea as the elixir of health. Today, researchers are reporting more and more health benefits of matcha. They suggest it improves the quality of sleep, boosts brain function, prevents depression, and even increases muscle mass.
Today, we're going to take a dive into the latest groundbreaking research from Japan and reveal what this ancient tea could mean for your health.
In 2024, a Japanese research group published a study in an international journal. They found that people with cognitive decline had better sleep and improved brain function after drinking matcha daily for 1 year. The team was led by Arai Tetsuaki of the University of Tsukuba near Tokyo. He has been treating dementia patients for more than 30 years.
止める手段がまだないと。だからやはり早めにそういう生活習慣とかそういう予防対策ですね。 生活習慣の中で取り入れられて認知症を予防できるような、そういうものをちゃんと科学的にですね、見つけて、それを広めていきたいと、そういう動機ですね。
Arai's team carried out an experiment with 99 participants. Some had subjective cognitive decline. Others were in a pre-dementia stage known as mild cognitive impairment. They were all asked to drink matcha for 1 year. Half of them took capsules with 2 grams of matcha daily, while the others took capsules without matcha. The researchers then tracked their changes. They asked the participants to fill out a 19-item questionnaire. It included things like how many hours they slept, how long it took them to fall asleep, and what kind of sleep problems they had. The answers were scored and analyzed. Here are the results. Higher scores indicate worsening. After 12 months, the group without matcha saw their scores rise, meaning their condition had worsened. But in the matcha group, scores dropped after 6 months and again after 12 months, showing improvement. The researchers looked more closely at how sleep improved. They found that people who had reported bad dreams or pain during sleep showed improvement.
よくお茶はカフェインが入ってるから眠れなくなるから夜飲まないようにみたいなことを言われることもあるんですけど、どうも今回の結果からそうじゃなくて、むしろ睡眠の質が良くなっている。で、その一つとしてはその抹茶に含まれるそのテアニンっていうですね。
Matcha has become popular for its health benefits. A component called theanine is drawing attention. Theanine gives matcha its subtle sweetness. Recent studies show that it promotes relaxation and improves sleep. It is said that a cup of regular green tea has 2 to 20 milligrams of theanine, while matcha contains 20 to 40 milligrams. Let's look at why matcha contains at least twice as much theanine as regular green tea. This is because of the way matcha is grown. It comes from the same tea plant as green tea. But about 2 weeks before harvest, farmers cover the fields with nets to block sunlight. This prevents the production of catechins, which create bitterness and leaves more theanine in the tea. The production method is also thought to enhance matcha's health benefits. At the factory, large amounts of tea leaves are steamed, cooled, and then carefully dried. Then, the dried tea leaves are slowly ground with a stone mill. To make matcha, the entire leaf is milled into powder, allowing all of its nutrients to be consumed. Along with theanine, matcha contains catechins, which have strong antioxidant effects. They help prevent hardening of the arteries and support fat burning. Matcha also provides vitamins A and C, as well as beta-carotene, and minerals such as potassium, calcium, and iron. Dietary fiber can also be taken in from the leaves. Arai's team also studied how matcha affects social cognitive functions in participants with cognitive decline. Social cognitive functions help us read and understand emotion. It has been reported that people with mild cognitive impairment experience a faster decline in these functions. In the experiment, the computer screen showed 48 photos of people with expressions of anger, sadness, happiness, or calmness. Each image was paired with a word. The participants had 3 seconds to decide whether the word matched the expression. Here are the results. Before starting matcha intake, both the matcha group and the no matcha group answered correctly at about the same rate. But 1 year later, while the no matcha group showed little change, the matcha group's accuracy rate improved.
コミュニケーションの中でちょっとそのコミュニケーション相場でそういうストレスがかかってくるっていうのも老化を促進するにつながると思いますので、よくしてあげられたら、もしかするとちょっとまた発症を遅らせることにつながるんでしょう。
The team included a researcher working on prevention of dementia using blood tests.
このような通常行われている検診で行われている検査、これに加えて特捜が開発した血液バイオマーカーというものを調べました。
The research team analyzed how types of things in the participants' blood samples. In the group that ingested matcha, they found major changes in 3 proteins. The first is albumin, a protein linked to nutrition. Experts believe low albumin levels lead to a buildup of amyloid, a substance that damages neurons in the brain and is thought to cause Alzheimer's disease. The other 2 proteins are transthyretin and apolipoprotein A1. Experts say these can bind amyloid beta and help remove it from the brain. Apolipoprotein A1 also protects the blood vessels in the brain. In the no matcha group, there were no major changes in those of these 3 proteins that help protect cognitive function. Within the matcha group, the levels of all 3 increased.
これまでの研究から推察すると、カテキンですね、それからテアニン、この辺りが一番そういう遺伝子抗酸化、そしてそういうホモンの保護みたいなことに関係している可能性は考えられますね。他にもいろんな成分、これはちょっと今後の研究課題だと思います。
In 2023, a study with Parkinson's of depression published in an international journal. Research on Kurashiki of Monaco State, Southwest Japan. He is continuing his work to find new drugs for the growing number of patients with depression.
実際に現在のうつ病の治療薬も大体 30% 以上の方が効果がないと言われています。で、あとですね、うつ病の治療が受けられたとしても、その薬を徐々に少なくしていく、やめるっていうこともなかなか難しいので、そういったことも問題かなと思っています。
In the mouse experiment, Fauci used an elevated maze shaped like a plus sign. This device is commonly used to study anxiety in mice. It has cross-shaped arms. One set is enclosed by walls. The other arms are completely open, with no barriers.
マウスは基本的に暗くて狭いところが しいですので、不安が強い状態のマウスは、だって狭い、いわゆるクローズドアームという領域を長く移動したり、開発することになります。一方で、不安が低いマウスというのは、開放的な高い通路、いわゆるオープンアームへの滞在時間や移動距離が長くなります。
One group of mice drank matcha. The other group was given 0.1 grams of matcha per kilogram of body weight. Here are the results. The red lines show the mice's tracks. The no matcha group showed more movement in the closed arms and less in the open arms. But the matcha group showed greater activity in the open arms. They also left more tracks in the closed arms, going about 1.5 times farther than the no matcha group. The matcha group was clearly more active. Kurauchi also compared the effects of matcha on mice with mild depression and those with severe depression. Here are the results. The vertical axis shows how long the mice stayed still. The longer this period, the higher their level of depression. For the mice with mild depression, there's no difference in the amount of activity, whether they drank matcha or not. But for mice with severe depression, those that drank matcha were more active. Their immobility time was reduced to 1/3 that of the no matcha group. Kurauchi also examined dopamine in the mice's brains. Dopamine is a key neurotransmitter that drives motivation. When its function declines, depression worsens. This is a cross-section of the brain of a mouse that drank matcha. The brown dots are a protein called CFOS, a marker of dopamine neural circuit activity. Compared with the mouse that didn't drink matcha, there are more brown dots, nearly twice as many. In the mouse brain, Kurauchi found that neurons showed activity in 3 regions. One that regulates emotions, another involved in pleasure and motivation, and a third that produces dopamine itself.
今回その抹茶を使うことで明らかになったうつを軽減させるとか不安を軽減させる効果っていうのがまだ解明されてない精神疾患、うつとか不安の解明につながるとも考えますし、常日頃から日常的に抹茶を継続して飲むことでそもそもうつ状態にならないような食育につながるんじゃないかなというふうに期待しています。
It has also been reported that drinking matcha helps increase muscle mass. Recent research has shown that muscle not only provides energy, but also helps control blood sugar and regulate immunity and hormones. Aoi Wataru of Kyoto Prefectural University has been studying how different foods affect muscle. His team divided 36 young men into 2 groups. One group drank matcha, while the other one did not. Both groups did resistance training twice a week, and the researchers monitored the changes. They trained for up to 12 weeks, doing 8 resistance exercises for the whole body. The program included bench presses for the chest, squats for the thighs, and training for the back as well. In the experiment, the participants drank a beverage containing 1.5 grams of matcha twice a day. Dietary guidelines were given to avoid differences caused by meals. Here are the results. After 12 weeks of training, the team measured the increase in muscle mass. The no matcha group gained about 100 grams of muscle on average, while the matcha group added around 700 grams. Aoi asked the participants to rate how tired they felt after each workout on a scale from 0 to 100. One week into the program, those who drank matcha had, on average, a 22% reduction in fatigue compared with the no matcha group. This effect was maintained even after 8 weeks. The researchers also measured the concentration of cortisol in saliva. Higher levels indicate greater stress. The matcha group showed a significant decrease.
興味深いことに、抹茶群では、初期の頃よりも終わった後の頃、8週間、12週間とトレーニングを続けているにもかかわらず、ストレスレベルが下がったんですね。ですので、運動をする疲労やストレスをいち早く回復させる。これが筋トレに対する体の、適応といいますけれども、筋力とか筋肉量の向上の後押しするメカニズムにつながったんじゃないかなというふうに思いますね。
Aoi also analyzed stool samples from the matcha group to see if matcha affected intestinal bacteria. He found increases in certain types of bacteria, one believed to suppress intestinal inflammation and support immune function, another that breaks down dietary fiber, and a third that's more common in people with lower levels of obesity.
腸内細菌、善玉菌と言われるいくつかの腸内細菌は、皮膚が大好きな、成分をいっぱい出すんですね。これが抹茶群で増えた。で、興味深いことに、この増えた人ほど筋力も増えてきたっていう、その相関が得られたんですね。
Aoi suspects that consuming matcha improves the intestinal environment, promotes protein synthesis, and boosts energy metabolism, leading to more muscle mass and recovery.
そういう考え方もあるんですけれども、最近我々が注目しているのは、いろんな成分を複合的に取る。そうすることによって、一つ一つでは起こり得なかった。
specific はですね、特にその脳に作用するというのは脳の、血液の管理 BBB を取る必要があります。
When we eat, nutrients are absorbed in the intestines and carried through the bloodstream to organs around the body. But the brain has a strict barrier that blocks pathogens and harmful substances from entering. This is called the blood-brain barrier.
そこをですね、手をまとっていくんですよね。で、もちろんカテキンの EGCG や EGC、カフェイン、そういうものが入っていってさ、脳に入った時にいろいろなその脳の中で働くような物質に働きかけを行うことでストレス緩和であるとか睡眠の質を高めるとかそういうことができる。
So what's the optimum amount then, Professor, that we should be having each day of matcha to get all these amazing benefits?
ティースプーンできたぐらいですけれども、それを取ると 体のためにいいよというふうに言われています。ただカフェインがたくさん入っていて、カフェインに対して感受性のある方は抹茶スイーツはコーヒーにたくさんカフェインが入っている。それは注意した方がいいと思います。そしてあとは妊婦さんもちっちゃな赤ちゃんの中にいますけれども、カフェインに対する感受性が非常に強いんです。ですのでどんなに飲んでもティースプーン1杯までということで、それをやっぱり妊婦さんは気をつけなければいけないというふうに思います。
Yamamoto also warns against too much sugar with matcha. Processed items such as matcha lattes and sweets often contain large amounts.
そのお砂糖の種類に気をつけていただくのがいいんじゃないかと思っていてですね。例えばエンザイムとビートシュガーを使うとか、あとはメープルシュガーを使うとか、ココナッツシュガーを使うとか、どちらかのようにしていくっていうのはすごく大事なんじゃないかなと私は思っています。
Now, Yamamoto will show us a recipe for making the most of matcha's health benefits.
豆乳を使ったエメラルドスムージーみたいのいいんじゃないかな。What a beautiful name!
Yamamoto recommends a matcha smoothie. Use avocado, apple and baby spinach, and add beet sugar for sweetness. Then pour in soy milk and mix in matcha.
抹茶の中にビタミン E が入っていたり、油に溶けやすい成分ですので、アボカドを使って油と一緒に取ってあげることが大事です。抹茶の栄養素をちゃんと体の中に取り入れていただけるんじゃないかなというふうに思っています。
So I have come up with a few ideas as well for using matcha. I'd love your opinion. Obviously, particularly in Australia, we have things called energy balls or bliss balls. So I've come up with an idea to do something like a matcha energy ball.
Erica recommends sweet energy balls made with walnuts, dates, coconut powder, and matcha. Just mix the ingredients in a food processor, roll them into bite-sized balls, and they're ready.
ウォールナッツを入れることでとても良い脂質がそこに混ざってですね、ビタミン E の吸収を上げてあげて効果が高めるという非常に健康効果というところがいいものではないかなと。あとフルーツなんか自然な甘みが出ますよね。そういうところで
Erica also suggests another idea: mixing matcha with amazake, a traditional Japanese fermented rice drink.
So it enhances our gut flora or our, gut microbiota. And also very much the probiotics also enhance the uptake of these catechins as well.
麹があって、もう一つ抹茶のカテキン、テアニン、ビタミン A、そういうのを入れて混ぜると非常にマルチビタミン、すごく関連に近いようなものではないかなと思いまして、体にはものすごくいいと思います。
So Professor Yamamoto, going forward, what role do you think that Japan should play in advancing the research on matcha?
今後その抹茶の研究ではですね、研究だけではないんですけれども、日本としてはやっぱりそのどういう製造法が正しいのか、要するにフェイクの抹茶ではないということが分かるようにちゃんとしていくっていうことが必要になると思います。
So I think it's been such an inspiring and interesting episode. So thank you so much for coming on the program.
ありがとうございました。
The science around matcha is still unfolding, and what we know so far is just the beginning. But knowledge means little without action. A cup of matcha may not change everything, but it's a small, intentional act of self-care, and one that can support your health, focus, and well-being one sip at a time.
Our bodies are home to trillions of invisible life forms. They are known as intestinal bacteria. Recent research has revealed that these bacteria play a role in everything from immunity and metabolism to our very state of mind. Today, one health practice centered on living in harmony with bacteria is gaining global momentum. In fact, it's a health practice that people in Japan have been following for over 1,000 years without even realizing it. It's said that Japan's approach to living with bacteria is one factor supporting its world-leading life expectancy. Miso, natto, rice bran pickles. Japanese meals include an abundance of fermented foods and fiber-rich ingredients. In recent years, more and more cafes, restaurants, and shops are branding themselves around gut health. It's really nice. Supermarket shelves are lined with all kinds of health-focused yogurts, while new services are emerging that allow customers to analyze their own gut bacteria. Today's episode focuses on gut-related activities, known in Japan as chokatsu. We explore a burgeoning wellness standard based on living in harmony with our gut bacteria.
Hello, and welcome to Japanology Plus. I'm Peter Barika. A lot of Japanese words end in katsu. And I know a lot of people are going to be thinking tonkatsu, which is the breaded, deep-fried pork cutlets, which are extremely popular with residents and visitors alike. But we're talking about a different kind of katsu today. This is short for katsudo, which means activity. And it's often attached to words which indicate social trends. Now, today we're going to be talking about chokatsu. And cho refers to the intestines and guts for short. So chokatsu is activities related to the intestines. We'll find out what it's all about in a minute. Enno-san.
That's me.
Nice to meet you.
You too. It's great to meet you.
Our guest is Benno Yoshimi, a leading authority on intestinal bacteria research. He came up with the term chokatsu.
I understand that you're actually the inventor of the term chokatsu.
30 years ago, I coined various Japanese terms related to the gut, including chokatsu. The reason I created these words was to make everyone in Japan think about managing their own gut environment. The public's awareness of the importance of the gut was very low at the time. The gut was becoming a source of illness, and colorectal diseases were also on the rise. Learning how to control this was the key. Chokatsu is all about turning the large intestine from a source of illness into a source of health.
So how does one actually go about doing chokatsu?
Well, firstly, the important thing is to eat 3 proper meals. You should also be eating things that are high in dietary fiber, like seaweeds, beans, and mushrooms, all of which are common in the Japanese diet. Then there's fermented foods. You need to incorporate those. Another thing is relaxation. You need to create an environment where you can relax, free of constant mental stress. Also sleep. Getting enough of it. These are the important aspects commonly associated with chokatsu. Do you do any chokatsu yourself?
Well, from what you were just saying, I do try to get as much sleep as I can. I do try to get exercise. I walk 45 minutes every morning. And I do eat quite a lot of things that have roughage in them.
That's excellent. Just make sure to relax and be mindful of what you eat, and you'll be able to build a healthy gut environment.
You know, in our daily lives, we don't really spend too much time thinking about our intestines, do we?
I began my research in the 1970s, but as we entered the 21st century, it became clear that gut bacteria can play a role in high blood pressure, diabetes, and even brain function. From around 2010 in particular, there's been research related to conditions like dementia and autism. It's only this century that people have started calling the gut our second brain.
Miso, soy sauce, natto, pickles. Japan has a long history of fermentation. Techniques to ferment and preserve grains and fish date back more than 1,000 years. Preserved foods were made using fermentation, including narezushi, in which fish and rice were fermented together. Between the 8th and the 12th centuries, cordy making techniques were brought over from China and spread across Japan, leading to the creation of fermented seasonings such as miso and soy sauce. By the 17th century, fermentation had become central to Japan's food culture. Towns across Japan made their own miso and soy sauce, and storehouses lined the streets. Natto and pickles became staples for the masses, and Japan's unique culture of fermentation began to take shape. At a time when global life expectancy averaged around 40 years, some Japanese historical figures, such as Shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu and artist Katsushika Hokusai, lived remarkably long lives. Fermentation was thought to hold the secret. The mechanisms behind this process were gradually uncovered thanks to advances in modern science. From cordy mold and natto bacteria to our own gut microbiome, we now understand that microorganisms are deeply involved with human health. Our first stop is a specialty store that stocks unique fermented foods and seasonings from around the world.
Whoa, look at all these. These are all fermented foods. It's amazing to see so many different types of things, and they're all fermented. When you're in Japan, the topic of fermented foods comes up really often. And I don't recall people talking about it elsewhere. Why do you think that is?
Japan is hot and humid, and many regions have their own traditional fermented foods. I think this is now one of Japan's emerging charms. Sake, for example, is a product of fermentation.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, I suppose wine is also fermented.
For wine, grapes are fermented using yeast. Japanese sake, meanwhile, employs a unique three-stage fermentation process using lactic acid bacteria, koji, and yeast. Japan's tradition of fermentation is reflected in sake's versatility. It can be enjoyed warm or chilled. The products here all share that potential. They're fermented foods, crafted to bring out umami.
A lot of things I've never seen elsewhere. They actually look pretty good.
This mealy is a perfect example.
Right, this is it. Right.
Pure rice vinegar is another.
Vinegar, yes, of course. And people weren't necessarily aware of the scientific benefits of it. It's just something that had always been in the culture, I suppose.
Exactly. That's what's so remarkable. Even today, we might encounter these foods and think, wow, that stinks. But within that pungency is the immense power of fermentation. This process of making food last longer while also bringing out umami is a trait unique to Japan and neighboring countries in Southeast Asia and East Asia. One thing to note is that these foods are high in sodium, so I think we need to be mindful not to overindulge.
Come to think of it, where I grew up in England, they have a thing called Marmite. Do you know that? No. I think that's also a fermented dish, not dish, fermented food, I suppose. It's incredibly salty. We used to just dab a little bit on toast, but more than that was a bit too much.
Tonkatsu, the practice of improving physical condition by optimizing your intestinal environment. The concept is beginning to take hold as a modern health practice, and more people are thinking about their gut health in their everyday lives.
ずっと便秘がちなので、毎日ヤクルト飲んだり、乳酸菌摂取したりとか、あと調子悪い時にお腹マッサージしたりとかしてます。
なんか海藻がいいっていう話もちょっとちらっと聞いたことがあるんで、なんかメカブとかモンスキとか、まあ一気に添えるように心がけるようにします。なんか気が大きくなったというか、だるくなくなったって感じですか。はい。
こんにゃくが好きなので、やっぱり多めに取り入れた料理を取るようにしてます。
だいぶ違いますか？
やっぱり違いますね。食べた時と食べてない時の違いっていうのがやっぱりなんか分かるので、はい。
One key pillar of fermented Japanese foods is koji milk, considered Japan's national microbe and essential to miso and soy sauce. Awareness of lactic acid bacteria, meanwhile, arrived in Japan through yogurt. As Japan underwent a period of westernization around the turn of the 20th century, yogurt was introduced to the country. However, at the time, it wasn't a common food, even in the West. It was a Russian microbiologist at the Pasteur Institute in Paris who first focused on its benefits. Ilya Mechnikov observed that Bulgarians who ate plenty of yogurt lived exceptionally long lives. He theorized that there could be a link between the bacteria in yogurt and the gut environment, and pioneered the study of yogurt's health benefits. The 1970 World Expo in Osaka helped spread awareness of yogurt across Japan. The display of authentic yogurt at the Bulgaria Pavilion proved so popular that it triggered a sudden surge in Japanese interest. Japanese food manufacturers started researching lactic acid bacteria and developed all kinds of health-focused yogurts and probiotic drinks. Today, Japan is recognized as a global leader in the field of lactic acid bacteria research. Our next stop is the research laboratory of a major dairy manufacturer.
Hello.
Hello.
Konnichiwa. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm glad to see you.
Tsuchihashi Hanae is an expert in lactic acid bacteria.
Can you explain a little bit about the kind of research that you're doing here?
We primarily do research on lactic acid bacteria and product development research on fermented foods like cheese and yogurt. This is one of the strains we are currently researching.
That's lactic acid bacteria.
Yes.
And each one of these is a piece of bacteria.
So that's right.
Can I actually have a look inside the microscope?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, well, that's really pretty. And it looks quite different from this. And this is blown up how many times?
These two together provide 1,000 times magnification.
Okay, So they're really, really tiny.
The term lactic acid bacteria isn't actually a scientific name. It's a general term for bacteria that produce large amounts of lactic acid. In terms of classification, over 700 species of lactic acid bacteria have been documented so far.
How long have you been doing this research?
I've been involved in this research for about 25 years.
Is it fun?
Oh, yes. Ever since I first began researching lactic acid bacteria, I've always loved seeing the results of each experiment. It's so exciting every time.
Oh, that's good.
They call her the lactic acid bacteria hunter.
Whoa. How do you go about hunting them?
Lactic acid bacteria are everywhere. You find them not only in fermented foods, but also in grass, trees, vegetables, and flowers. There have even been salt-tolerant strains found in seawater. They also live in the intestines of animals, and of course, humans. They've been found inside both the mouth and the gut. We collect samples from all of these sources, verify that they really are lactic acid bacteria, and sort each of them. This is the process that we call hunting, gathering samples from all different places, isolating the different lactic acid bacteria, and archiving them.
So lactic acid has not necessarily anything to do with milk.
Pickles and kimchi, for instance, are fermented using lactic acid bacteria. Cheese and yogurt, too. By consuming such foods and other fiber-rich ingredients like cacao, we can improve our gut health.
Cacao is actually fermented after harvest, so that means chocolate can be considered a fermented food.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Japanese supermarkets offer an incredible variety of yogurts. Some boast specific strains of lactic acid bacteria and their benefits. Others are low in fat or sugar. There are even ones with a particular focus on gut health. The number of yogurt products is growing every year.
These days you go to the supermarket and there are numerous different types of yogurt. So what's going on there?
The benefits of each yogurt vary, depending on the specific characteristics of the lactic acid bacteria used to make it. For example, strains that support gastric health, strains that boost the immune system, and strains that inhibit the absorption of purines. Those have all been uncovered through our research. Yogurts that contain these kinds of strains are known as functional yogurts.
It's not about curing illness, but preventing it. You could say lactic acid bacteria are at the very forefront of that effort.
So as this research progresses, the possibilities of preventive medicine expand quite dramatically, I would imagine.
We are moving from an era of rushing to the hospital for medicine to an era focused on maintaining and improving our own health. One important part of this is to incorporate foods that utilize microorganisms into your diet. Because Japanese people have such a long tradition of fermentation, they have no problem consuming live bacteria. That's one trait that sets Japan apart from the West.
We head to where these hunted bacteria are preserved. It's one of the world's largest microbial libraries, home to over 6,500 species of lactic acid and other bacteria.
This is the lactic acid bacteria library. Can we go in?
I'm afraid you can't.
Oh, what a shame.
To prevent contamination, access is strictly limited. Inside the securely managed vault, the temperature is kept at -80 degrees Celsius.
Oh, well, yes. But you've got a whole bunch in there. And each one of those is different?
So that's correct.
This is the bacteria we saw under the microscope.
So to make the yogurt, do you have to take samples out of here?
We need much larger volumes, so we scale it up at the factory and store it in canisters. This is what we use for our daily yogurt production. Here we make what are called starters or seed cultures. They guarantee a reliable supply of lactic acid bacteria.
It's like, I guess it's like when you make yogurt at home, you have some live yogurt and you use that to make the new one. Then you keep some of it and then keep.
Oh, right. Though you'd have a tough time replicating the flavor at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today, research into gut bacteria is advancing at a breathtaking pace. Beyond maintaining health, microbes in our gut are being utilized more and more in the treatment of disease. This research facility is considered to be at the global forefront of gut bacteria studies. Professor Yamada Takuchi of the School of Life Science and Technology at the Institute of Science Tokyo is using cutting-edge technology to unlock the mysteries of the gut environment.
So what kind of research are you doing here?
In this lab, we test how different foods affect the gut. We add food samples to fecal cultures derived from human intestinal environments and monitor what changes occur.
Okay, so how is that then applied?
Well, one ingredient might affect one person, but not another. Our research provides the foundation for foods and medicines tailored to each person's specific gut environment.
It sounds like a really new field of research. How far along is it progressing?
It's called personalized nutrition, and it's already on the market. We've partnered with major food companies to analyze a person's gut environment and provide ingredients that are most compatible.
One medical application of gut bacteria research is a procedure called a fecal microbiota transplant. The idea is to restore a disrupted gut environment by transplanting bacteria from a healthy donor. This treatment, a direct result of advancements in bacteria research, is being studied as a groundbreaking new form of medicine.